My name is Fanny Vicente, and I'm here to discuss the death of Catherine Bowman, my granddaughter. My request to reopen her case, reason foul play. Let's start with the case. On May 17th, I was video chatting with my daughter, Tessa Arlene Santa Maria. She was her boyfriend is a mentally ill person who doesn't take his meds and is prone to violent outbursts. He doesn't feed her. She's severely malnourished. And at the time, she had just had a baby and had her tubes tied. The sad part is when I was talking to her on the 17th of May, she had lost her mind. Then the very next morning, May 18th, I called the Sevier County Sheriff's Office to inform them about the abuse that my daughter was undergoing under her boyfriend's care, and that he wasn't feeding her or the children, ages 3 and a newborn. This is 13 days out from the time my granddaughter was born. When I was telling them about the abuse that my daughter was undergoing, they seemed to laugh it off like it was just a domestic situation. But then when I informed them that her boyfriend also is a dope dealer, they seemed to have stopped laughing, and he was growing weed in the back of his trailer. And for a minute, they paused, and she put me on hold. When she came back, she tells me, I'm going to go ahead and send someone to investigate. Well, they came back on May 18th, and they informed me that everything was fine, that nothing was amiss, which that was false. This is the house where they live. And this is Crosby in Tennessee. It's Cox County. My daughter was in a hospital, suffering from severe malnourishment, mental illness, and severely depressed. Later on, I find out that the reason they did not inform me of this was because of HIPAA law. And I read into it, and what it says is if someone is suffering from substance abuse or mental abuse, that the doctor is okay to disclose their condition to better assist the patient with treatment. So I was not informed at the time. During this time, both my granddaughters were under their father's care. Joseph Boldman, who has mental illness, doesn't take his medication. He's also alcoholic and smokes. He's anywhere from 55 to 60 years old. My daughter's only 29. He's a social outcast. He was honorably discharged from military due to his illness. And he was under foster care for I don't know how many years of his youth. He reads like a serial killer. He's very insecure about himself. So my daughter is usually locked up in this house. It's not even a house, it's a trailer that's falling apart with her 2 kids. And not having nothing to eat. Because this whole time I've been helping them survive 6.5 years that they've been together. I also believe that the Sevier County Sheriff's Office is a lot responsible for all this stuff that's going on with me and my family. I fear for my life and for the life of my daughter, my granddaughter, because these people are very dangerous, and I believe that this is a cult. And the reason I believe this is I want you to be the judge of this information I'm going to give you right now. But if anything happens to me or to my granddaughter, and my daughter hears our names, and I only hold the Sevier County's Sheriff's Office responsible for her death. Following into our story, my daughter was in a mental hospital during that time. My granddaughter, Catalina Bowman, passes away. And the official reason for her death was positional suffocation. Positional, forgot the name of it. It'll come back to me. Which means that she was found face down, and she suffocated to death. And they ruled it a accidental death. And in this time, her father, Joseph Boldman, is caring for both the baby and the toddler, and he's acquitted of any wrongdoing. He doesn't get any charge or anything like that. Well, the strange part of the whole thing, he did not notify any other relatives, his relatives, or me, or none of us about Catherine Bowman's death. There's no pictures, no plot where to cry for her. There's no body, not even her little body to say, yes, she's dead. So when I started asking questions to the Sevier County Sheriff's Office, they made it to where none of my family can talk to me. My daughter, they used my daughter to get all my family against me because they're afraid of what I have to say. I did threaten to sue them for all the things they put me through. When my granddaughter passed away, and I don't know the date because even that information is top secret. They don't want to release this information to me when she passed away. I've gotten facts here and there. I have made 3 other videos. With this one is going to be the 4th, in regards to my theories on what's really happening with my granddaughter's death. And I'm very sad. Well, the first thing I want you to know is this is on YouTube you can find the other 3 videos that I made prove that Catalina Bullman is alive. It has actual video voicemail recording of me speaking with Misty, who was the coroner that was in charge of doing the autopsy. When I called to ask for her Catherine Bullman date of death, she tells me that there's no one by that name. And when I asked for Catalina Bullman, she changes her whole attitude. You just have to listen to it. According to them, her record is still permanent. And due to HIPAA law, which means her record is sealed for 50 years. I'm not able to find out what really happened to my granddaughter for 50 years due to them sealing the records. I believe there's how many other, I want to ask you, how many other babies or have they permanently sealed that for 50 years? And the reason I asked this question is because I don't believe she's dead. If you listen to the recording of proof Catherine Bullman is alive, you would see why I highly doubt that the fact that there's no body or a burial plot. Nobody attended her funeral. And the thing is, the police, my daughter is not I cannot communicate with her. She's up there in that mountain. And I spoke to her on October 26th. Was actually the last time I really spoke to her. And she was crying, really telling me a whole lot of stuff. And at first I thought, she's hurting. She lost her baby. But then I hear when she's sobbing, for a minute, she was quiet, and I hear a voice in the background saying, "Tell her this, tell her that." And I realized that it wasn't her who was telling me all this. Someone was actually coaching her to say all these ugly things to me. And that's why I believe that she's been held captive and against her will. And I have a 3-year-old granddaughter, Giselle Bullman, too. She does not deserve the life that this man is giving her. And my daughter's 29. If you see her, she looks way older. She looks like a walking zombie. The next thing I want to mention is I find out that my daughter is in a mental hospital May 21st. This day, I almost lost it on May 21st because when they informed me that she was in a mental hospital, they also told me that she was crying out for me the whole time she was there. And even though she was crying out for me the whole time, I was not notified or told that about her condition. So when I found out, I took to calling the mental hospital in Chattanooga, which is like a 2.5, 3-hour drive from Crosby. This place, if you read the reviews, they're a nightmare. Again, the reason why I was not notified about this was because of the law, HIPAA law, and they informed me that I have to have the numbers on the bracelet when they are admitted into the hospital, which I didn't have at the time. And also, the Sevier County Sheriff's Office did not inform me either. The other thing that I want to mention about this place, if you look at their website does not have any of the people that work for them, like the investigators, the dispatch department. You would think they have all this information on there. And people would say, oh, well, it's a small town. No, because there's another police department in that area, the same. Like, they're literally four to 6 minutes away from each other. And if you look them up, you would find that they have the directory of who all works there. And it gives you more in-depth information about them, which Sevier County does not. The other thing I want to say about this place is every time I've asked their name, they give me a why do you need it? What are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with my name? And I was like, that raises more my suspicions about my granddaughter's death and the way they treat me. Like, they always act like they want to get rid of me. Like, why am I calling? Why do I call so much? That was a question too. And I told them, like, I just want to know the well-being of my family. They I didn't find out about my granddaughter's death, so-called death, until June 11th is when I found out that my granddaughter had passed away. And it was heartbreaking. I fell into a big depression. Well, the other thing I want to say is I spoke to this responding officer, Manetti. When I spoke to him on July 2nd, 2022, these people have no heart, no feelings. Every time I talk to them, they want to treat me like I'm crazy. Well, the thing is, he went to do a welfare check because I called the Sevier County Sheriff's Office to do a welfare check. He calls me back informing me that he was the responding officer at the time when my granddaughter passed away. When I asked him, like, can you give me a date that she passed away, he tells me that he didn't give me a date. He gave me a timeline. It was from the 24th to the 27th. It's supposedly when my granddaughter passed away. And then I asked, how did she die? And positional asphyxiation is what he said. And he said, this is exactly what he said. He said, I went in and I inspected the baby. And due to my findings, we believe that is the reason why the baby died, positional asphyxiation, because she was found face down. When I inspected her, she had no ligature marks or signs that she was suffocated to death. Then I asked about my daughter. How was she doing? He's like, well, I checked your daughter and she seems to be fine. She is fatter than me. And I don't know how big he is or anything like that, but he must be a midget and weigh less than 100 pounds because my daughter is a walking zombie. She's 5'6". And he's like, well, even her wrists are bigger than mine. This is July 2nd when he informs me. But the way he says it was like he was reading a book, like also matter of fact, no feelings, no nothing. And then he tells me we have no reason to arrest Joseph Bowman because we believe that this is how it happened, and we have no reason to continue the investigation. This is more information that I've gotten from anybody else. He's the only one that informed me sort of what happened. Then right now, they're being more cautious about what they say to me, how they say it, because they're high alert, because they're asking me, why do you keep calling for welfare checks on your daughter? Why do you want to know our names? And I was stupid enough to tell them that I wasn't keeping record of everything. And since then, they've been on high alert. They're very prejudiced people. Everyone that works in that department is white. I'm not prejudiced. My daughter is with a man that's white and she's Mexican. My grandkids and nephews are half white and half Mexican. I have no prejudice bone in my body. The other thing, then I spoke to the lead investigator on 11/21. It was very hard to get in touch with him. He's the lead investigator. I could not get a straight answer from anybody. Every time I've asked like questions, like when it happened, what time it happened, how it happened, they tell me that I have no right to any of that information. That is, all this information is sealed. The second, there was 2 detectives involved. The second one, I don't know his name. But the only thing I could get out of Dexter Robbins, lead investigator, was I asked him, like, why was I not notified of my granddaughter's death? And he tells me, I don't know why. No, he tells me, I didn't know your number. I didn't know anything about you, which is not true because when I called on June 1st to do a welfare check, I spoke to one of the dispatchers. She gives me 3 names, Rebecca. The other name she gives me is Angela, but she's always switching her name. This is the reason I know there's no directory on the website, because it's like they're lying to me every time I talk to someone different. Okay, so she told me, oh, I'm going to give him your number so he can get a hold of you. He needs to tell you something. And I'm like, what does he have to say to me? Tell me. And she's like, oh, I don't know. And then she goes and talks to someone and comes back. And she goes, oh, everything's fine. June 1st, I didn't know that my granddaughter passed away. I wouldn't find out till June 11th. It's when I find out that she's dead. And they didn't inform me because of HIPAA. They're not supposed to inform people. I don't know why. Even though I was calling them to do a welfare check on my family. It's really devastating and frustrating. Then when I speak to Detective Dexter Robertson, lead detective, I asked him like what had happened and what date that she passed away. And he tells me, well, he asked me, well, when do you think that she passed away? I'm like, what do you mean? When do I think that she passed away? Well, give me a timeline. When do you know she passed away? And then I remembered what Manetti had said. And I said 24th through 27th. And he said, oh, 26. And I'm like, one time did she pass away? And then he said, I think it was 12:30 p.m. And then I asked, when did you close the investigation? Because I was never interviewed. I was never questioned for the investigation. And I asked him, like, did you know that he has got mental issues? That he's got severe mental issues? And he goes, yes, I'm aware of that. He tells me we closed the case on August 2nd. That's when we closed the case. The other thing that they gave me was the case number of the baby's death. And it's right here. But really, this case number only is only for their use, not for us. Because when I tried to get her records, it asked specific questions like time and date. And this is the reason why it was so important for me to get this information from them, is to get the records. And according to them, I don't have access to either her records or the investigation records or the autopsy report because I'm not the mother. This is where it's convenient for them that my daughter stays away from me because they don't want her to have any contact with me. She's the only person that can request this information according to them. So the only person that it's convenient for is for them if she doesn't have any communication with me. And this is why I believe that she's being held captive by these people because they benefit by her not having any contact with me. And I believe that if she had a choice to leave this place, she would do it. Now I understand why I would always ask her, like, why do you stay here? This place is miserable. And she would always never look at me in my face and tell me anything. And I'm like, tell me if he's abusing you. Tell me, I'll do everything I can to get you out of here. And I understand now that maybe she felt helpless to get out of there because it wasn't just him, it was a whole police department. The other thing that I done was I called Child Protective Services. Um, November 15th, this is the case number. When I called back on November 30th to find out the status of the investigation, I was informed that the person that's assigned to her case does not exist. And this is the number when I talked to Rebecca, which is the dispatch. She gave me the number and told me, if you feel like we're not doing enough, because I was frustrated with her and I was telling her, it seems like y'all don't do nothing. I keep reporting that my daughter is not well and I need her. So I can go rescue her. And they're like, oh, there's nothing wrong with your daughter. She's fine. Her daughter is fine. And it's not true. It's not true because I don't believe these people. They didn't notify me of my granddaughter's death. They didn't notify me when my daughter was in a mental institute. And to this point, I don't trust them. I don't trust anything they say anymore. This is sad. It's police, These people are supposed to serve and protect us, and they do not. The reason I think that they're connected with Child Protective Services is because the same day I called Child Protective Services on November 15th to find out the status, I called to get a welfare check. The police officer responding, I didn't get his name only because he told me that the welfare, the CPS had gone out to the property that same day. This is November 15th. November 15th is when I made the report. So he's saying that the same day that I reported the child neglect and that her father was not feeding her or her mother, then he was an abusive man because he had mental issues. I was so happy to hear this that I completely forgot to ask questions. And then when I thought about it, I'm like, how can this happen? I mean, it's sad that, you can't even trust the Child Protective Services. I'm not lying. This is the email from them stating that I have opened up a case on them, and they don't. The person that's in charge of this case doesn't even exist. And the other thing, too. Then I spoke to the. I asked to get the information on the higher nonchalant of the investigation to get the case reopened. And this is when I spoke to Jeff McCarter. This person is the most unpleasant person you can speak to. All the time that I've spoken to any of these people, they treat me like I'm less than dirt. My investigation revealed. When I asked I forgot to mention about the drugs. When I spoke to the lead investigator, I asked him, what about the drugs? And he said, oh, we searched the place and we didn't find any drugs. I mentioned it on May 18th too, when I made the initial report the first time, that he's growing weed out of his house. They came back and told me that everything was fine. They didn't do anything. They didn't investigate anything at that time. You know, had they done that, my granddaughter would be alive, or I know she's alive. They just don't, because why are they doing this? Why don't they want to even give me the date she passed away or the time? And you can hear that on the tape recording that I made when I made the other three. This is the fourth tape that I'm making right here. Okay. The other thing, you probably asking me why haven't I gone to get her? Because these people have the ability to kill me, seal my records, rule my death an accident, and nobody's going to question it. You know, I want to play it smart, and this is the reason I'm doing this tape, is to let people know what's really going on Jeffrey, Jeff McCutter. This man, when I spoke to him, I said, you know, I feel like the investigation wasn't complete. And he's like, well, ma'am, we conducted the investigation and we questioned the suspect, Joseph Bowman, and his answers were straightforward. This is what he said. He was really normal. He just said, you know, this is what happened. And I'm like, so what happened? He's like, well, he says that because his Tessa is the one that's always taking care of the baby, and she was in a mental hospital. He doesn't know how to take care of a baby, and that he did as he saw. He just put the baby on the side, and the baby rolled face down and died. And we believe that to be true. That was an accidental death because he didn't know how to take care of the baby. And I'm like, had it been the other way around, had my daughter been the one to find the baby, kill the baby, she would be doing lifetime in prison right now. And he's like, well, we already did the investigation and it's a done deal. We are not going to reopen it unless you come back with a confession from him saying that he killed the baby, or that you have other proof that can reopen the case. We're not going to bother with it. It's closed already. And then I go, what about the drugs? The drugs that were in that house? And he said, well, you should have told us before that. And I did. I reported it on May 18th and on June 1st and on June 21st. No, 19th. June 19th. And on July 2nd. I reported all these times. I reported to the police department about the drugs. And all he said was, well, we didn't find any drugs in that house. So we didn't find anything. So there's no evidence to prove it. And I'm like, well, I'm telling you, I can stand on trial and prove I saw the when he was growing weed in a house. He goes, no, that doesn't work like that. You have to have more evidence to even consider taking it to court. And I go, well, how do you know that it happened the way you did? You're saying that it happened where the baby was found face down. And he's like, how about if the baby, if he put the baby face down, because this man has mental illness, and he could have placed the baby face down to stop the baby from crying. And then he goes, and I go, did you know that he has a mental illness? And he goes, yeah, we're aware he has a mental illness, but that doesn't make him a murderer. And I'm like, well, in this case it is, because he's not even been punished for what he did to my granddaughter. Then he's like, well, he goes, I have a coroner's report, an autopsy report that says the contrary. And I go, and then he goes, well, try to go over there and get a copy. And that's what I was trying to do. But I can't get a copy without a date and time of death. And then he starts laughing at me like, ha, 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 ha. And then he's like, and I go, it's not even funny. I go, you're going to hell for all this that you're doing to me. He laughs at me like, ha, ha, ha. What do you mean I'm going to go to hell for that? He goes, ha, 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 I'm going to hell, like mocking me. He's mocking me the time when I'm saying, and I'm mad and despair, and I know the only reason he's doing that is because he wants me to stop asking questions. They want me to stop asking questions about her death. They want me to go away, but I'm not going away. I want to clarify her death. And it brings me to the other thing. There is a Smoky Mountain children's orphanage, 4-minute drive from the police station. And since I don't have a body of my granddaughter, there could be a possibility that these people traffic babies and they use these women as devil worshiping, where they cannot escape. Look, they have all the hospital, the mental hospitals, the child welfare. I even called the adult services to get assistance, and adult services told me straightforward, we cannot do anything unless she calls and tells us that she's being held captive. She's being held captive because she has no way of telling people that where she's at, or scream for help, because she lives up in the mountains, where there's no phone reception. The only phone they have is the phone that Joseph carries, and he doesn't let her out of his sight, and he doesn't allow her to speak to anyone unless he's present. And before my granddaughter's death, my daughter and I had a perfect relationship. She always told me everything that was going on in her life, which wasn't much because she didn't even go out anywhere. I wonder how many more kids, how many more sealed records, newborn babies they have, because this is a gold mine. They can make a lot of money doing this, you know? And this is maybe the reason why they don't allow her to speak to me, because they're devil worshippers. You know, it's like I truly believe it, because I used to hang around devil worshippers, and this is it. Just everything just reads. You can see it. The house where my daughter lives at this moment has an portals. If you ever been to witchcraft or black magic or La Santa Muerte, whenever you do an offering, you open portals. Even when you do the Ouija board, and believe me, I know all this. I know all this. I know people that do all this stuff. You know, you open portals. And I almost became a sacrifice when I was 15. I can tell you what the ritual is before they kill you. Almost the only reason I wasn't sacrificed is because I have powers. I'm a medium, and I'm also a I have powers, and this is the reason why. A psychic too. That place has this place here is a perfect body dump. It's out in the mountains, all the way in the top. If people scream from this place, no one can hear you. No one is gonna come to your rescue. You know, every town, every city has places where there's body dumps, and I do believe that this place is a body dump. Please share this information with everyone. I beg you. I have all this information I'm giving you. Please go on YouTube, look up the names of the other 3 videos. You can hear the proof of the recording. Catherine Bullman is alive. In the second part, and I'm gonna do this video 3rd part, or you can go to Fanny Vicente 4270 on YouTube, and it takes you to all the videos that I have posted. They all contain information. In this case, please share this information. Help me save my family and those kids in this orphanage, because I do believe that this is what's happening. The more the more people are aware of what's going on in this in Tennessee and Sevier counties, the more possibility that they investigate. Thank you. You have a wonderful day. May God bless you.